And it's Tuesday morning, and one of my favorite times as a pet lover myself. It's time for our segment with Dr. Jaimie Ronchetto from Cinema Veterinary Centre. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's cinemavet.com, by the way. I want to talk a little bit this morning about grooming. I mean, dogs, I think we have different takes on how often we should wash our dogs. And also, if we have time, I want to get into how we groom our cats. Because a lot of people, I think, have the misinterpretation that because cats clean themselves, that they don't need baths. But I want to talk first. Let's talk about dogs. And now, does it vary by dog as to how often they should bathe? Because I used to have a German Shepherd, and there was one book that I read originally on them that said they really only need every few months. But I wasn't sure about that, and I still kind of gave him a little bit more of a regular grooming. So what's the scoop on that?
Yeah, I think grooming definitely depends on the type of dog that you have, and certainly whether they're more of an inside dog or an outside dog. If they're outside, obviously they're going to get dirty faster, so you're going to want to groom them more often. There are certain breeds, like for instance English Bulldogs, that just have a different type of skin, like the feel of their skin. They produce more oil, and they can be more inclined to skin infections and skin problems. So bathing them, and certainly with more medicated shampoos to kind of help with that type of skin condition, helps them more. But other types of dogs, like usually your little fluffy white guys, any of those types of breeds, if you bathe them too often, you're actually going to do damage to their skin or dry them out too much. So it does really depend on the breed of dog.
And when we talk about, we're talking about just a simple bathing with a shampoo that's non-drying. You shouldn't really use human types of shampoos, am I right? Or can you use it?
Yeah, no, I mean, they make lots of different shampoos. You know, I usually steer owners towards like a hypoallergenic, oatmeal-based shampoo. You can't really go wrong. Some dogs certainly are going to be much more sensitive than others. And surprisingly, for any dog that might get really greasy, or if they're having like an allergic reaction to something that they came in contact with, Dawn dishwashing detergent works really well.
Really? Mm-hmm. Dawn dishwashing detergent. Fascinating. So now, is a flea and tick shampoo always required, especially if you're doing other types of things to maintain that, or can it just be like a regular shampoo just to keep them clean? Yeah,
I think typically a regular shampoo is fine, and usually flea and tick shampoo has its place, but if they're on a different type of flea and tick preventative, either an oral or a topical on a monthly basis, then the shampoo is not needed.
So how soon should you start bathing your dog once you get them? If you, let's say, assume you get them as a puppy, like your 8 weeks.
I mean, you want to wait a little while. You don't want to do it when they're too young, depending on the breed, because some dogs at 10 weeks are still itty bitty tiny, and other dogs are 10 pounds. Yeah. So, if they're a good size, certainly if they get dirty or muddy or something like that, certainly puppies are going to run around and get into trouble. But starting them off by bathing them just probably once a month or even longer, especially if they're puppies and they're indoors.
But getting them used to the idea, at least.
Getting them used to the idea of water, and that it's not a scary thing, is always a good idea.
Let's talk about cats. 'Cause cats are a whole different thing. And again, as I mentioned at the top of the segment, that there are a lot of people who think, I don't have to bathe my cat. They naturally bathe themselves. They naturally keep themselves clean. Is that true?
They are very meticulous groomers, so they do typically do a good job of keeping themselves clean. However, you still want to brush them on a regular basis. That's going to help a lot with the dander and the hair that comes off of them, the shedding. It will help with sort of distributing the oils better over their body so they don't get big, dry, flaky crusts and dandruff. Certain cats, like my own Persian, does actually need to be groomed on a somewhat regular basis because he just has so much hair, he can't manage it himself, and he'll still get matted even though he's trying to groom himself. So he actually gets lying cut, so shaved, to help him be more comfortable. It's more manageable for everybody.
I'm sure he's happy about that too.
Yeah, he does really well, actually. Yeah, he puts up with it. It's like he knows it's going to make him feel better.
Now, on that level, though, is it ever wise to bathe a cat like you bathe a dog?
You can. I think it depends on the cat as to how well they're going to take that. But certainly there are going to be instances where they need the bath, and so it is a necessary thing. And there are actually really good mobile cat groomers that specialize in that might be able to help you with it rather than trying to do it yourself.
Yeah, that's the trick. Your lovely little cat will turn into your worst enemy sometimes if you get them near water. That's true. So I want to talk a little bit about matting, because we had a cat and he was just like an orange tabby, and but he had long hair, but he would get those mats. He would look like a dreadlock guy out there. And is that just something that happens? Because we would try to keep him brushed, but he was very outdoors, very independent.
Right.
So does that just happen based on, is it something wrong with the hair? Is it some sort of skin condition, or is it just they're being messy and not well grooming?
With longer haired cats, it is something that just has a tendency to happen, with them being active and out and getting into things. They're going to get matted over time. And even if they're trying to groom themselves, like the case with my kitty, it's still going to happen in certain areas. Older cats, heavier cats, kitties that are obese, have a harder time grooming themselves. So in those cases, even with the short-haired cats, there may be some areas on them that they can't reach, especially sort of the back triangle area reaching back to their rump, that they just can't reach it. And so that area is going to be more inclined to get matted, and you'll see dandruff there.
So just some common sense grooming, brushing with cats, making sure they do it on a regular basis. So they're used to it as well, because
Yes.
like any animals, they like to have their routine,
Yes.
Not just out of nowhere trying to attack them with a brush, because that might be trouble. And then with dogs, also just a regular getting them used to the idea that this is just part of the day. So that's
Right.
a good thing. And just keeping them nice and clean, because that helps to avoid skin infections, which could cause other problems. Cinema Veterinary Service, always a great conversation with you, Dr. Ronchetto. CinemaVet.com, and your number is
661-253-9300.
outstanding, and excellent service as well as a customer, I know. Thanks again so much for stopping by. It's always a pleasure, and have a great day.
Thank you.
You bet.